Do you remember when the President of South Africa was very proud of himself for giving 28 million South Africans social grants? Well, today the Minister of Health is proud of himself and his party for having the highest AIDS-infected population.
We are running the world's biggest HIV counseling and testing campaign. At 5.5 million people are on ARVs. No other country comes anywhere near that.
For some reason, the Health Minister of South Africa, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, thinks that South Africa dealing with the highest number of cases of HIV and AIDS is something that he and the ANC should pat themselves on the back for. But any critical thinking person hears the statement from the minister and realizes that this is a reflection of a big problem within South Africa. It means more people have HIV in South Africa, which means that more people are engaging in unsafe, careless, avoidable behaviors in South Africa than anywhere else. That's nothing to be proud of as a government. It is actually something to be ashamed of. Are we surprised by this shameful data? Sadly, I am not. Switch on your TV to Mzansi Magic or SABC. Sexy is the new type of storytelling now. Log on to Instagram. Young and old women alike posing like their bodies are the only things they have to offer. Instead of men in our community setting the standards of what is right and wrong, they like and applaud the slay queen culture. Go to any school, teenage girls in miniskirts and very tight pants is the order of the day. Parents are dropping them off to school or even giving young men the job to be the designated drivers to ferry the children to and from school. And when I say miniskirt, I mean the types of miniskirts that cause sexual harassment claims. The types of skirts that make any man turn around. The types of miniskirts that our mothers would have never worn are the miniskirts that are being worn by our daughters. And we expect male teachers to work in peace. While some pupils are distracting the teachers, some female teachers are doing it to the male pupils. And no, I am not saying the responsibility lies with the females. We all have a part to play. Actually, men may have an even greater part to play. As Confucius said, the man leads, the woman follows. I know that this may sound anti-women, but it's true. Men, you have a very big part to play in this messed up culture that we see. The man leads, the woman follows.
It comes with their own warnings when you wear them to school. But talk of South African schools, like I don't know if I'm centering so much on a particular place, but that's what I've seen. Because I realized they wear so short skirts to school. Like when you see those dancing videos and all that, I keep wondering, do they really wear that to school? Like, what's the idea? What's the perception of their schooling system over there? How is that allowed for them to wear such short skirts? Like, how is it like? If anybody has any idea, kindly educate us.
The children are watching that Mzansi Magic and Mubango rubbish. They are on Channel O, MTV and TikTok listening to and following the likes of Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. They listen to slay queens and take advice from them. And what do? We are just looking on as society decays. What are the results? South Africa running the biggest AIDS campaign.
At 5.5 million people are on ARVs. No other country comes anywhere near that.
So embarrassing, especially coming out of a whole minister's mouth. Have we gotten so used to achieving nothing that even when we're achieving bad things, we take the opportunity to celebrate? Do you think that this is an accolade to pride yourself in? He seems to believe that we should be proud. We are dealing with a promiscuous nation, lacking morals and discipline. Hence, you better be running the biggest campaign. Otherwise, we would have been falling like dead flies had it not been for the campaign. No other country comes near that. Sure, if we continue along this path, we should forget about competing constructively with any other nation. I mean, at this rate, we as South Africans are a risk to no one. We are a threat to no one. We spend our days partying or thinking of partying, drinking alcohol or talking about it, engaging in promiscuous behavior or planning when next to do it. Instead of the government addressing the root causes to things like premarital sex, teenage sex, and pregnancies, as we mentioned in our video comparing Ramaphosa to Trump, they are happy to address it at the tail end. Similar to how instead of addressing the root causes of unemployment, such as policies that repel investors and inhibit South African business people from thriving, they would rather focus on giving unemployed people 350 grants. Instead of addressing why so many teenagers are falling pregnant, they would rather insert implants in the teenagers to prevent the pregnancies. So you know that we have 10, 11, 12 to 18-year-olds who should be focusing on education to better their lives and prepare themselves for a better tomorrow, sleeping around. Addressing it through education and digging deeper into the root causes is just too time consuming, and because we don't really care for these teenagers who happen to be the future of our nation, we would much rather just allow them to engage in sexual relations as long as we don't see the pregnancies. So let's just insert these implants in their arms. Oh, but what is going to stop them from getting HIV? I forgot. You already have that PrEP pill that stops the HIV infection, right? The distribution of that PrEP pill in and of itself is also an admission that you know that people young and old are engaging in promiscuity. But you don't want to address that culture issue. Just inject superficial solutions to the problem. So we have an implant to stop the teenage pregnancies, the PrEP pill to stop the HIV infections, the biggest AIDS campaign on earth for those who contract the HIV. But one thing you forgot is that there are other STDs apart from HIV. What about syphilis? What about gonorrhea? Do you have a campaign against those?
In a few years or so, we will have gonorrhea that is untreatable.
Gonorrhea with symptoms, a very, very creamy sort of pus-like discharge, lots of burning and stinging when you pass urine as well. One of the worst could be infertility or subfertility.
Since the first antibiotic, penicillin, was discovered, gonorrhea has become resistant to 6 different types of antibiotics. And all over the world, we're seeing more cases of harder to treat gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is the second most common sexually transmitted infection in the world. And in women especially, it can be a silent and symptomless STI. If left untreated, it's an STI that can lead to infertility and even blindness in newborn babies.
I thought I had conjunctivitis, as you can see here, but it actually turned out to be gonorrhea in my eye. There it is. Lovely.
It all sounds good and well when you mention these campaigns that you're running, but we need to get to the root causes that necessitate these campaigns. Minister Aaron mentioned that 44 billion is being spent on this AIDS campaign. Imagine where that 44 billion could be spent if promiscuity was not an issue. Just imagine. Several schools, roads, hospitals per year. But that's if the comrades don't get to steal it first, of course. Bottom line, stop being proud of yourselves for coming in with a cosmetic answer to a deeper problem of culture and start going to the root cause. The numbers don't lie. 4,500 new infections in South Africa every week. And the most vulnerable? Young women and girls aged 15 to 24. They represent 1 in 3 new infections.
According to Stats SA 2021, an estimated overall HIV prevalence rate is approximately 13.7% among the South African population. An estimated of 8.2 million are currently living with HIV. Now, the shocking and alarming recent stats coming out of the SA AIDS conference revealed that about 1,300 young people in KZN are infected weekly.
This doesn't just happen. We all know that HIV is not like the flu that you catch in the air by simply walking outside, right? So why are 15-year-olds engaging in actions they should not be engaging in yet, endangering their lives in the process? Instead of just focusing on guilt-tripping other nations into giving us their money, instead of focusing on programs to give them ARVs, we need to ask ourselves, why are we not really protecting our young women? What changes are needed to prevent these infections? Dear South African citizens and leaders, let us stop the habit of throwing money at problems and start to acknowledge the issues with our culture, looking at what needs to change and how. 350 grants do not solve unemployment. Contraceptives do not deter teenagers from engaging in sexual relations way before the right time. HIV prevention polls do not stop promiscuity. We have a culture problem. Love South Africa and its people enough to tell them the truth and to get down and dirty in addressing the culture issue. If not, we will continue to see the countless social ills that come with the bad culture we have adopted. Anyway, that's it for today. Please like this video, share it with everyone who's upset with America for even thinking about keeping their money. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Oh, and thank you so much to every single person that has joined our membership and purchased a t-shirt or two. We sincerely appreciate it. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.